Hello everyone, DJR Union here, and today we're going to be going over the Hunter x Hunter Kurapika deck list for Union Arena. Now, without further ado, we would jump right in normally, but I do want to have a little disclaimer here at the beginning. With the Kurapika deck list, there are many builds out there to the point where you'll come across mirror matches with small differences here and there. I will be talking about some of these differences towards the end of the video, so just stick around for that part. And before we jump right in, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. So first off, we're starting off with 4 Kurapikas, your raid fodder card, pretty much what you need whenever you have a raid card in your deck, and your raid fodder here, in this case, is Kurapika. With every good deck comes a card that allows you to go through your deck quicker, basically your draw card cards. And in this case, it's going to be your 4 Zepiles. So these cards allow you to draw a card and place one from your hand into your sideline, just a great way to go through your deck. What more else can I say? You're going to run 4 of them. I'll go with the theme of supporting your deck to draw cards. We're going to have Ponzu here. Pretty much when she's sidelined, you get to draw a card. Pretty much what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing Zepile here to draw a card, then sideline one. And when you sideline Ponzu, you get to draw an additional card. It's a good little combo here, but you're only running 2 Ponzus because you don't want to have too many of them in your hand when you don't have one of these bad boys in your hand to help it. Next up, you're going to be running 2 Pokkles. That's just going to help you get rid of that pesky impact damage that you could be taking and completely nullify it, wiping it off, essentially freeing you up for some extra turns to at least survive. What more can I say than energy generation being very important in this deck? Therefore, cards like Leorio here, which generate 2 energy for just 1 energy, is a pretty good card, especially when the only cost is to bounce a card back to hand. And, you know, you return a card with 1 or less energy to your hand, why not send this card back? Then you get to draw an additional card and continue on with your onslaught of going through your deck before you get out your Kurapikas. Speaking of Kurapika, here's our first one that's not our raid fodder. Yes, you can use this one to raid too, but he's not specifically just for raiding. This one has an effect. If there's a character with 5,000 or more BP on your field, he gets impact. And you're going to run 3 of him. He's only at 3k BP himself, so he won't be able to get over a lot of characters, so he's only really good in the early game when he's able to cheek out a few extra damage points with his impact effect. However, nothing's stopping him from being effective in the late game as well, therefore being able to boost not only the fact that your raid Kurapika has 5,000 BP naturally, so he will automatically have impact, but when you use another special ability in this deck at a later time you'll see it, it boosts any character by 3k. This card only cares about a character on the field being at 5k. It doesn't say other, so you can boost him up by 3k, putting him at 6k, therefore giving him impact for the turn. It's not a bad move. Here's some more support to help you get through that deck. Kiriko. Just 2 of them, nothing too crazy. It just helps you draw a card and it's something that you can put out on the field. Next up is your 3 energy Kurapika here. And you're only running 3 of these 3 energy Kurapikas because they do generate 2 energy, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. However, he doesn't have impact, so you don't want to have too much of him, considering how impact is a good way to get through a lot of damage, especially when it comes to using Emperor Time. And I do really like his effect of if you have 6 or more energy, he gets 1,000 BP, therefore putting him at 4,000. And since your deck is going to be generating a lot of energy quickly, you're going to have that 6 or more energy. Therefore, this character will almost always have 4,000 BP. Really strong card to get out with just 3 energy needed. Moving straight over to the next 3 energy card, we have the Hunter License. You know, you play it and you untap 2 of your tapped AP. What more can I say? You're running 4 of them. Next 3 energy card is another card that also generates 2 energy. It's going to be Basho here, and he has steps, so you can play him on the front line and then move him back to the energy line whenever you need that energy to help support you out later. Pretty good card, but not too prominent, so I'm only having him at 2 right now. And the final card in the 3 section is a card that not many people that I've seen use Kurapika use, and it's known as Heaven's Arena. Heaven's Arena, it's a pretty nice card. It only generates 1 energy. However, once per turn, when a character on your field attacks and wins a battle, you get to draw a card. So if you do not have that 7 energy Kurapika or certain cards to help you essentially get to the highest level of play you can get to, Heaven's Arena can be a useful card to play to help you dig through your deck a little bit more, just for simply killing off your opponent's characters. So for that reason, I'm only having 2 of it in the deck, because I don't want to see it too much, especially when I'm ahead. It doesn't really help me out much. Next up is the 5 energy Kurapika. This one also has the requirement of needing 6 or more energy generation, but when he does, he has impact. Not only that, but when you play him, you're able to look at the top card of your deck and then choose whether to leave it on top or bottom. You get to scry 1. And you also get to scry 1 when you attack with him. He's strong. 4k BP, really good color effect, color trigger. It's a really good card, and honestly a really great pick for Emperor's Time. Speaking of Emperor Time Absolute Mastery, of course you're running 4 of it. You get to choose 1 character on your field. It gets 3000 BP, and whenever he attacks and wins a battle, you get to draw a card. And then into the end of that turn, if that character is Kurapika, it will have Snipe. So of course Emperor Time can target any character on your field, but you want to focus really heavily on that Snipe ability, because that is what really makes or breaks Kurapika, and really goes to show just how powerful this deck can actually be. Is because Snipe is a really powerful ability, especially for a deck like this where it's easy to get over your opponents. Neon is probably the most important card in this deck, outside of Kurapika himself and Emperor's Time. Neon allows you to do a neat little thing where you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck. And then at that point, you can pick any character in it, reveal it, and add it to your hand. But if that character has only 1 action point needed to be used, and you have the energy for it, you can just play it set to active on your field. Or if it's a raid character, you can raid with it. It's a really strong ability, and it allows you to get your Kurapikas out earlier. It allows them to do bigger things, and yeah, you're just a menace when this card is out on the field, and whenever you see this on the field and you're on the opposing side, run. Or just give up. The next card I play is this Hisoka for 2 action points. You can really see him in the starter deck. 5000 BP naturally, so it really helps out that 1 Kurapika that needs a 5000 or higher BP character on the field. But he also has impact 1 and damage 2, so pretty much he's doing 2 damage to your opponent for each time he hits them directly, and if they choose to block that damage too, you're still getting a little bit of damage through with impact. So if they don't block, they're taking 2 damage. If they do block, they're still taking 1 damage, but they also lose a character. It's a good way to force your opponent to get that block. And last but not least, you have the man of the hour, your Raid Kurapika. Raid Kurapika, honestly, I don't really have much to say about him. He's Kurapika, he's rated 5000 BP, he has impact, and when he's played, you can choose to give him Snipe, therefore doing some serious damage on the turn he's played, or if he comes from your life, you can raid him and then choose to rest an opponent's character to stop yourself from getting attacked 1 too many times on a turn. Really good card on offense and defense, and you're running 4 of him, so have fun with him. So I just want to add in this quick little segment to talk about a couple cards I've seen coming across the Kurapika decks. One of the more frequent ones I see is this Hisoka here. Pretty much once per turn when he attacks and wins a battle, you get to draw a card, which is really good. It allows you to draw through your deck really quickly, and I can really see the hype behind it because that card draw really helps. Not to mention, during the main phase, while your opponent could naturally choose not to block it and let the attack through, they typically don't want to, so they'll try to find a safer way to block it. But with this, you pay 1 action point, and once per turn, until the end of that turn, your opponent has to block this card. So they can't just let it through so you don't get the card draw. They'll have to block it, lose a character, get the card draw, or, you know, whatever they want to do with it. It's a really good card, and I do see it used in a lot of Kurapika decks. The other card I've only really seen used in 1 deck, and that's this Leorio. And I only brought it up because this is one of the mirror matches I played that I lost, and they used this Leorio to beat me. So let's talk about it, shall we? Once per turn, when he attacks and isn't blocked, you draw a card. Now, it's a 3500 BP character. If you block, they don't get to draw a card, and if it's a 4K or higher BP character, you can block it safely. However, you can pay 1 action point, he'll get 1500, therefore putting him at 5K, and he'll have impact. Therefore, you're not going to want to block him, or you lose a character, you lose a life, and they get to draw a card. And that's just not a good situation to be in. So this Leorio actually has some merit to it, but I've only seen it in one deck. I've only seen it really used once, and I can't really speak too much on it. But from the personal experience I had losing to it, I think it's a pretty solid pick. Probably a one of, if anything. And that is going to be the end of the Kurapika deck list, where I showed you everything that I have currently built in my Kurapika deck list. Now, I did talk about a few improvements that could be made and switched out for, specifically when it comes in regarding to different card usages that I've seen in other decks, like specifically the mirror matches that I've been a part of. But that's not to say that there are other changes that can be made as well. As all of these decks are, it's pretty much subject to change. You can make them however you want, but here's our guide for how we believe that they should be made. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and check the description down below, and in there you will find a deck list for Purple Bleach, Yellow Bleach, and Blue Hunter x Hunter, specifically the specified slot variant. So, without further ado, let's improve together. Go check out those videos, and we'll see you in the next one.